That's why this is believable. It's beyond the unbelievable. Do you get it? That's why it's believable. So basically, all modern scholars agree that Jesus historically existed. All of them. Anyone of any academic background, they're not debating that point. There's a few points about Jesus' life that most modern scholars agree on. And when I say modern scholars, I mean academics with no religious background at all. Basically agnostic or atheist, some believers, but all modern academics and scholars all agree on a few points about Jesus' life. One, that he was baptized by John the Baptist. They accept this point because of the criterion of embarrassment, which means it's not something that they would make up about Jesus to make him look good. John the Baptist was a man beheaded by King Herod. He was a revolutionary, and the fact that Jesus, this Son of God, this God on earth, Word made flesh, would have to be baptized by someone else seems weird. The point is, it's not something you would want to make up about Jesus to make him look better. So because of this, they accept that he was baptized by John the Baptist. They also accept that he was sentenced to death by Pontius Pilate, the governor of Judea in the time of Tiberius Caesar. This seems to all come together and be accurate. They also accept that he was crucified and died. Okay. So, baptized by John the Baptist, sentenced by Pontius Pilate, and died on the cross. Okay. There's another point, though, of which we have ample evidence that they don't accept. And this is where it gets metaphysical. This is where we get beyond the material world, and that is why it's a problem. It's the resurrection. How do I have proof of the resurrection? Well, first we have the Shroud of Turin, which I've talked about in the past. It's beyond miraculous. The amount of energy it would take to create an image like that on that type of linen, 200 nanometers thick, we can't create that. What's it? Something like, if I remember correctly, it's about 34 trillion watts. Something thereabouts, something more than we could ever create in one place on this planet at any time. So, as miraculous as that is, that's not it. We also have something else. We have what's called the Nazareth Inscription. So what's the Nazareth Inscription? It's described as an imperial edict from an unnamed Caesar declaring that disturbing tombs or removing bodies is a capital offense. The decree uses formal Roman legal terminology and equates tomb violation with crimes against the gods. It reads, "It is my decision concerning graves and tombs. If anyone has moved with wicked intent those who have been buried, I order that a judicial tribunal be created, and that violators suffer capital punishment under the title of tomb breaker." Why would they put out this universal message to the Roman Empire? And the dating goes right back to the 1st century. It's clear. This is in response to something. In response to what? The empty tomb. No one denies that the tomb was empty. Their accusation is that one of the apostles stole the body. But they didn't even know that this was an option, that the body would be gone. They never understood that. It says that over and over in the Gospels. The apostles never understood that this was going to happen. He kept telling them, but it never landed. Not to mention, we read in the Gospels that there were Roman soldiers guarding the tomb. And no pun intended, they knew this was a grave responsibility. And if they didn't take this job seriously, Caesar was going to get rid of them, if you know what I mean. They didn't mess around in Rome. That's how it was. Do your job or they'll find someone else to do it. Again, tomb was empty. No one could have stolen the body. And the fact that the empty tomb was first found by women adds to the authenticity of the claim, because at the time, women weren't to be believed by men. It just wasn't a thing. They didn't believe them. So the fact that they would use the woman as the mouthpiece, knowing that people would try not to believe them for numerous reasons. So much like the John the Baptist claim, no one would say that a woman saw it first if you were just making up the story. It doesn't make sense to do that because you want the story to be believed if you're making it up. They're not making it up. It's just the truth. So they're just telling you the truth. That's why this is believable. It's beyond the unbelievable. Do you get it? That's why it's believable. So what's the Nazareth inscription? It's a marble slab, written in Greek, a formal decree from an unnamed Caesar that makes tomb breaking, or removing bodies from a tomb, a capital offense, and it's from the 1st century, the time of Jesus. Why would they do this? In response to the empty tomb. They had a political upheaval on their hands. They have a whole bunch of people claiming that there's an empty tomb and a man rose from the dead. And we have another group of people that wanted him dead, who have a big problem with this because it undercuts their entire religion. This is the historical context of the moment of the Nazareth inscription. And you have modern scholars today say that this doesn't have to do with Jesus. It was actually from before. It's like, give me a break. We all know what the most famous empty tomb of all time was. Give me a break. It's obviously about that. But deny it all you want. You can deny everything you want. He did the same thing with the Shroud of Turin. You try to claim that it was a medieval forgery. We know it's not a forgery. It's the real deal. If it was a forgery, then go ahead, recreate it. Forge it again. You can't. So we know the tomb was empty. We have an inscription from a Roman Caesar about the empty tomb. And we have a shroud that he was wrapped in, leaving an image on there we couldn't recreate if we tried. So, yeah, it's safe to say we should be adding the resurrection to the list of the things that the scholars, the academics, know to be true about the life of Jesus.